Hello and welcome. I'm Amy Lee and this is She Means Business. This is where I sit down with women building businesses to talk about what it really takes, the decisions, the doubts and the growth along the way. Today I'm speaking with Kasia Kuchnicka, founder of Valeo Society. Kasia describes her mission as regulating the nervous system of the creative industries, with a particular emphasis on the music industry. Kasia is a passionate advocate for making the industry a more sustainable platform for musicians and industry professionals, where everyone's mental health and physical well-being is cultivated and respected. Her company, Valeo Society, was created to help put well-being at the forefront of this culture, to change the narrative amongst the creatives. Kasia, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for your invitation. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, it's wonderful to see you again. Well, let's start really simply then. Tell us a bit about what you do in your words and how you got here.
Again, this is a long story, but I try to shrink it into a few minutes. But I was classically trained, which
Right.
means that there was certain rigidities in how you can express yourself within music. And also how you play the instrument. So there were, very clear directions, very clear instructions of how you should be and how you should play. And there's kind of, it was all pointing to a direction that there's only one way to play certain music, right? And for me, somehow personally, that wasn't enough. I always felt like there was another way, and I wanted to kind of explore that. So when I've done my master's at the Royal College, I've decided to just step away from classical world and explore, different genres to start with, and see how that, is that any different? And are there any ways that I can actually have a conversation musically with other people rather than just follow one direction? So that was the start, like breaking out of this classical music bubble and seeing what other ways there are to play music, to express yourself. And that was really interesting because I suddenly saw a completely different world where there was no rules on how, there was no paper even in front of you. So you had the freedom to say whatever you wanted to on your instrument. And that was bloody terrifying for me, because of course, when you're growing up and you are being told that this is the only way and you only follow the music as it's written, right? How do you break out of that? So that was my first experience of like, oh, kind of seeing that there is another way, like there is another dimension to how we express ourselves. And there is also, I've noticed this narrative amongst creatives that, the industry is broken and everyone is struggling. And, if you want to do it, this is just because it's your passion. Right. So then, again, throughout the years, throughout many conversations with many, many people around the industry, I started to notice that actually it is possible to shift that narrative. And kind of throughout my own personal growth and development in other areas, it kind of translated later on to understanding that perhaps the system that has been designed in the music industry, or like the systems that we had to even record music or put yourself out there, when they were designed, they were perfect, right? But they were perfect for the moment in time they were created for. And we have a beautiful opportunity right now to actually stop and say, look, this was great, but it doesn't fit to what we need right now. So we have this incredible opportunity to actually just create a new industry if we wanted to, right? So my hope and my mission, kind of by regulating the nervous system of the whole industry, is to realize there is another way. And if we remember who we truly are, and if we remember how to be the healthiest version of ourselves, we can actually create a healthy industry going forward. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful.
We're not really looking at deeper impacts that we have. And
Yeah.
I think personally, I found that by slowing down and actually moving back to our own individual rhythm, which is also fun in itself in the music industry, we are actually creating from a very different place.
So tell me then, when you say regulating the nervous system, I mean, tell me a bit about that, because what does
I knew this
that
question will
mean, and
come
how
up.
do you do it?
I think probably have mentioned before, I am actually currently training as a somatic educator for women. And
Okay.
you probably will ask me, okay, what does somatic mean, right?
Yep.
And soma is a Greek word for body. And the practice of somatics is an inquiry into knowing ourselves and the world around us by listening to our body and its language, right? And with that, there becomes a power of actually understanding that our body was created to protect us and to function, to release and to function in the best possible way to keep us alive, right? And of course, what a beautiful design. We have been given this body with a mind and with a heart, right? And they are supposed to be working in a perfect harmony in an ideal world. But of course, to keep us alive and to keep us safe, we needed a system within us that will help us do that, right? So we have this beautiful. If you look at the pictures, we have this beautiful, a tree almost like of nerves within our body that connect from the vagus nerve from top of our head all the way down to our pelvic floor, and within that system we can then be presented with, let's say, a scary moment, a lion jumping out of the jumping out of the closet.
As they do
And it will
regularly.
help. This system will help us then make a decision. Okay, do I run away or do I hide? What do I do in order to stay alive, right? And this is obviously an extreme example, but throughout the day you will notice there is so many other things that the body will react to in a similar way. So when I say regulating the nervous system, what I mean is making sure that the stress cycle that comes daily in our life is being closed, right?
Yeah. So we don't remain in this kind of
Exactly.
heightened state. I suppose it's similar to, so when I'm coming across women that are experiencing, in their words, stress or burnout, I guess there must be something in that then, in terms of their nervous system and the
Yes,
part that it
absolutely.
plays.
I mean, going through burnout myself, I know exactly how it feels.
Right.
And again, I think we are conditioned to rationalize everything with our mind, and we very seldom actually are allowed to feel with our body. And our body actually has a huge amount of information if we just let it, if we just actually sit with it and listen to it, right? What's really interesting, and I can't remember where this information is coming from, but I can find out later, is that actually 80% of our information of how we perceive the world and how we interact with the world comes from our body, and it's only 20% that we receive from our mind, right? So it poses a huge question of like, how the hell or why the hell are we not listening to this more, right? And just going back to the burnout, and living in constant stress or experiencing trauma, in burnout, we come to the point where the stress levels are just so high, and we are staying in that stress for way too long, right? So the body doesn't know how to slow down, how to come down and regulate. And obviously, we are on constant overdrive within our senses, within our mind. Everything just becomes irritable, frustrating. We are tense constantly. We can't sleep. Obviously, there might be some digestive problems, right? That's all because the body is trying to sustain, us in this constant.
And the body talks to us, doesn't it? It communicates with us. It knows. It's kind of saying it's time to slow down. It's time to stop. Whether it's a digestive problem, skin problems, there's all kinds of ailments and health challenges when the mind and the nervous system aren't cared for.
Personally, I've experienced massive headaches for like 6 months straight. And I was putting the meaning to this, to everything outside, like everything was, I was looking at the wrong places, obviously, but that was a very wise way of my body to say, look, you have to slow down. Otherwise we don't know how to run this show anymore. And I was fortunate enough to actually give myself that time to recover. I'm still in that recovery place. And I have to say this was a life-changing decision, because I actually had the chance to slow down enough to see what my path is supposed to be. But B, also gifting myself that moment of self-care and realizing that no one else out there is going to help me. It's my job to do this, right? And I think as tough as it sounds, or as tough as it might feel, right? This completely changed my outlook on everything. And I think because of that struggle, and I'm always going to be thankful for that struggle in a way, because again, it's a very blessed way to kind of put you back, or put your focus back on who you really are and what your mission in the world is. And leading, becoming a leader from a space of the heart, not from the space of the mind.
And there's such a lot of lived experience in your gift to the world. And this was something that I was talking to Jess Dixon about in the last podcast episode. But this sense that actually we kind of go what we experience in life, what we go through, and some of our trials and challenges, if you like, are taking us down the path of awareness of what we are here to do and what we are, what gifts we are blessed with. And I wonder, Kasia, because you said that it was such an important decision. Could you talk us through what some of the thinking was at that time?
This is an interesting one because at first it had nothing to do with creating a business, if I'm honest with you. And it was everything about just taking care of myself and realizing that I've been pouring my heart and my soul and my care to everyone around me. And at some point, realizing that there was nothing left in there for me. So initially it was about healing for me. And initially, what I really love, and I've learned that quite a while ago now. Anytime I find myself in a low mental state, I lean towards learning something new, and somehow learning new skills or learning new subjects. It was lifting me out of that low mental state, right? So when I left my job after 15 years, and I loved my job. I loved people. Like, I loved everyone in my job so much. I gave everything to them. It was a really tough decision to actually say, you know what? I think it's time to take care of me and just pause and just stay away from everything I know and everyone I know, and actually just take a moment to see what is bringing value to my life. Because at that moment, I also recognized that I've been bringing value a lot to lots of places and lots of spaces and many people. And it was interesting because for over 30 years, I did not see that. I was looking from a different lens in my own life. So that was a beautiful discovery in itself. And when I took that step back and actually decided, oh, maybe somatics is something that will help me to access what I need to know, I quickly realized that actually this is the missing piece of my well-being journey that I would love to experience for myself, but then also share with others, because now I have an understanding of the power of somatics and the power of regulating your own nervous system. And I'm actually writing a book about this because it's such a epiphany for me. That there's so many things and so many layers within the industry, especially, and within performance on the instrument, that they're so interconnected. And if you understood, how connected that is to your performance, to the way you are as an artist, to the way you relate to the industry, to the way you relate to the world, right? We could create something really beautiful. So initially it was a way for me to heal, but then it became a bigger mission. So at the beginning, when I took the time out from work, I went away for a couple of weeks. It was just me, the mountains and the lakes. And again, what a gift, what a blessing that I was able to do that, right? And within that period, I realized how much I enjoy, taking pictures and creating short videos And I wasn't really doing anything with that. It was just there in my phone. And it was a beautiful memory, of course. But towards the end of the trip, I was really feeling like cold. Oh, I really want to just like record what I'm experiencing right now. Like, I really want to just talk about this, to my phone, but hopefully later on share it with others, right? And there was no real plan back then of what I'm going to do with this. But slowly and surely, the more I was healing within myself, the more I was returning to my body, really, the steps became clearer. And it wasn't the full idea all at once. It was like, oh, what if I, shared digestible well-being tips with everyone, which is what I used to do anyway, but now I could do it on my own terms, right? Yeah. And then I kind of realized, wow, there's so many beautiful pictures and videos in my phone. It's all there waiting for me just to use it in a creative way. So I began just sharing little posts on YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook under Valeo Society. So that was my kind of first step of like just sharing the message with the world, right? At that moment, it wasn't to create a business out of it. It was just allowing the flow of creativity to express itself. And then the more I was going into training, the somatic training, and I made this connection between regulating the nervous system and the music industry, that's where it all clicked. And even now, as I speak about this, I can feel the goosebumps around my body. It's like, that makes total sense. Like, I want to become this person who really, truly understands from a lived experience, as you said, what does it feel like? Not even what we can all on an intellectual level understand that we should be, I don't know, eating healthy and having connections and exercise 20 times a week, whatever, sleep many hours. But I think the missing piece here is that unless we are regulated within our nervous system and we feel safe enough, these things will always be just a chore, just another thing to cross off your list, right? And I was noticing those subtle shifts within myself, right? The more I was regulated, the more I felt safe in my body. I was naturally, drinking more water, or I was naturally actually just wanting to sit outside for a few minutes and just absorb some sunshine, or eating better. I started to live with intention. And more importantly, I started to create with intention. And especially becoming an artist now it's a pure joy. It's like, it was a joy before, but I wasn't really settled within that. And now it becomes this, it's just so natural. It's literally, the body knows what to do if you let it speak.
Yes. Yeah. And you remove those kinds of shoulds and the judgments. I should go to the gym. I should do this, and the judgment that we have
I
when
should
we don't do it.
walk 20,000 steps a day, and I should do this, and I must definitely, eat better, or so many things, so many judgments, and I'm guilty of this 100%. Or putting yourself down because you haven't practiced enough on your instrument, or or again, eaten badly, or didn't sleep enough, or whatever, so many things. And then suddenly, the more I was, in contact with my body through breath, through touch, through sound, through movement, and I'm not talking about going to the gym and pumping, very gentle and subtle movement, and allowing the body to speak the way it wants to speak. Wow. The power in that is just like, and it's just so freeing. The only way I can describe it is like there's this freedom and belonging, or the sense of freedom and belonging in you. That's sourced from within. And it becomes a foundation of how you are showing up in the world. And wow, when you know how it feels, because that's the crucial part. When you know how it feels, it's a game changer. You don't want to be you don't want to be anywhere else. And again, it just becomes, you become it. Like you become yourself within that. And you start understanding that there is space for all of us here in the world. And especially in the creative industry world, there is space for all of us in here. And we all have a very unique way we're going to express creativity, life, source.
It's such a beautiful journey, and especially how you describe it, Kasia, is quite captivating. I wonder, where are you at then with the business now?
So as I continue going along, I recognize there are things that I want to share with a wider community. And I'm just in the process of finalizing the website. And that's really exciting. Never done this before, but I'm sure it's going to be great. With so many ideas. And that's something that I caught myself recently, kind of realizing that, oh my gosh, the mind has just so many things that it wants to achieve. But the body very wisely is just like keeping me frozen a little bit, right? And saying, wait, don't rush this. This is too big of a deal. And like,
so you're having to really be consciously pacing yourself, and you're doing that by listening to your body.
Right. And I think many people in the business probably find themselves in that situation where, there's so many great things they want to do and like rush into it. But then the body is wise enough to kind of stop you in your tracks and say, look, you're going to burn yourself out. And this is my story, of course. Others might have a different experience, right? But don't rush this, because, if you push too hard, you're going to end up being ill again, for example. Right?
Of course. And you're so congruent with your own message then, aren't you?
Exactly.
Totally aligned.
Exactly.
Yeah. And again, it's come up before, but this sense of taking your own medicine, being the first recipient of your gift before it can go anywhere else.
So million ideas, but the kind of the core ideas that's coming out hopefully in the next few weeks, few months, is finalizing the website, and then obviously sharing the channels. And I'm just going to continue creating the content on those channels, but also offering people a space to share their stories and share their meal, a meal with me, with Guru K, I've had one of these already, and it was a beautiful experience where just few people from the industry came together, sat in my living room, and we just shared the meal, shared our stories, and where we were able to tune in or find our own rhythms by tuning in with others, right? And I felt I've been in those spaces before. They were done online, and I felt that that was such a huge impact for myself, right? So I
Uh-huh.
would like to continue offering that, but in a slightly more relaxed environment. Um, so I'm hoping to create a regular space for people to come together this way, and again, the insights from even from that first meal were just so uplifting. And yeah, I just think it's just such an important way to rebuild our community again and rebuild that connection.
Yeah, by being part of
Yeah,
it and surrounded by those people, and then whatever opportunities arise through
yeah.
that will be
And
the right
realizing that
ones.
you are not alone. We are not alone in this, right? So that will be one of the offerings. I am developing this stretch, somatic stretch for musicians specifically. I might I might create one for the creatives as well, so not necessarily musicians, and also a meditation that is linked into musical practice. So these are just like few little bits that will
Yeah.
hopefully come to life very soon. Plus, I, as I said, I'm writing the book. So again, for me, these days, it's not about the speed. It's about really fully, truly living and experiencing what I am preaching so I
Hmm.
can share it in the most authentic way. And, if anything comes out of it, beautiful. But the main driver in here and the main driver in my playing as well, it became about, let me put this right. So, especially in performance, it's no longer about if I play well. It's about, does it feel good when I play?
Mm.
And that's the
Yeah.
same idea for the business, right? So it's not necessarily, of course, it is about, and eventually it is about, you know, earning some living from this, right? But that's not the core driver of this whole experience.
Yeah.
The core driver here is, does it feel good? And does it align with my heart? And does it align with the message that I have for the world? And what will
Yeah.
be more rewarding is if I can even influence one person, right? And somehow just bring that spark inside of them, and shift their perception, shift their thinking. My job here is done. I'm rich
I
and
know, right?
fulfilled just by knowing that.
And in my experience, Kasia, doing it that way, the money, that's inevitable.
Mm.
The making a sustainable, prosperous business on the back of all of the things that you've
Mm.
described, the lived experience, the here and now. Does it feel good? The profit making from that is inevitable.
I think for me, there is this deep trust that if this is the work that I'm supposed to be doing, then
Hmm.
I will be provided to continue this, right? So
Yeah.
there is I can't even describe it to you, but there is this sense inside of me, this knowing that I, this part is going to be taken care of. And of course,
Yeah, because you're part of something bigger.
yeah. And of course,
Mm.
you have to understand the numbers. You have to know how to manage the finances and the financial side of the business. But again, this is not the core driver for this work. And again, ask me in a year's time, I might have a different view. Who knows? But at the moment, I'm just following what feels right in this moment. Right? This is the truth for me right now.
Yeah. And in terms of doubts as they come up, what can you share a moment of doubt about this whole business thing, or has it really just felt because of your practices, have they not come up as you'd expect? We're just interested to know how you navigate that.
That's a good question. And I think the doubts do creep in, especially when I reach the edge of something that I haven't done before, or whenever I was used to doing things a certain way, and now I'm trying something new. And the doubts come in not because I don't think I can do it. It's more to do with letting go of what felt familiar.
Oh.
And it's so freaking tough sometimes to let go, because there's this old version of you that knew exactly how to be in a certain situations, or even your nervous system, right, is used to protecting you in certain situations because that's the way for years you've dealt with.
It's predictable. Yeah.
Right. And now, my God, I'm training myself to step out of that. So sometimes more often than not now, I have enough awareness to catch myself when those doubts or like those judgments creep in. And for quite some time now, I would probably say a year now, I've been working on really noticing when, beliefs that are not necessarily true creep in, or like judgments about myself creep in and say, oh, you're not worthy um, of having a success, or like you have to dim your own light because that's gonna upset everyone else outside, right?
Yeah. Who am I to speak of
Exactly.
this?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and you know this because you've heard me before.
Yeah, and I go through it
Yeah,
myself. Yeah.
and also there's certain parts of the little Kasia in me, the little child in me that
Yeah.
I've learned uh, certain behaviors or certain ways to navigate conflict, or certain ways of navigate life, really, again, to protect my little heart. And that can be difficult sometimes, because you really have to, I really don't like saying have to. You have the responsibility to attend to yourself, to attend to your, a child inside of you.
Yeah.
And literally slowing down, sitting myself down and having a conversation with myself, right?
Yeah.
And saying, look, I see you. I really thank you for showing up. Thank you, anxiety, for alerting me to this danger that is coming.
Trying to keep me
Yes.
safe. Yeah.
And thank you, little Kasia, for telling me that it's we've been there before. It's kind of like the mind is great in like bringing all sorts of moments in our lives, or like memories from our past, to show you, look, when this happened back then, right? You were so hurting then, or like you were so unhappy then. We can't take you back there, right?
Yeah.
So it's noticing. First and foremost, it's noticing, being more present in this body that you have, this beautiful body that you have, and realizing it's all coming from love, right? It's all
Yeah.
coming from the self-love that the body is trying to send to you. And you
Absolutely.
always have a choice. You always have a choice. What do you do with this information? And how do you, or if you want to transmute it into something else. So if you want to transmute it into a different narrative.
Yeah. Yeah. And I often used to think that there was like this kind of scale of like fear and love,
Mhm.
right? There's kind of fear on one side, and then like the opposite of fear is love. And what I've come to believe more recently is that there isn't an opposite to love, that actually it's all love, as you have said,
Mhm.
that the fear. And I think that comes from love. And I think that's helpful because we can then move away from, again, the should, the shame,
Mm.
the
The
judgment.
guilt.
You know, I shouldn't be scared of this, but I am. And I beat myself up if I feel scared of
Mm.
something. Actually, if we can start to embrace that all of those feelings come from a place of protection and love, we can start to perhaps accept them and reason with them
Mm.
better than, more effective than if we were judging
Mm.
that fear for showing up.
Mm.
So it's definitely something that, you know, that I've worked with as well. Um, I just wonder, Kasia, it might be a good question for us to complete on when we talk about doubt. If somebody listened to this is at the beginning of their
Mm.
journey and is full of doubt about whether they should follow this path of their gift, of their lived experience, of creating a business out of that, what would you want them to hear right now?
I would encourage them to examine, what is this doubt telling them, and I would really encourage them to see if this doubt has a message of kindness, and is this doubt bringing them, it's a weird thing to say, but is this doubt somehow sitting in their body with peace and love, which is what they are in essence?
Mm,
Or is this doubt taking them to the space where they feel completely lost?
mm,
Because there is a very different quality to having a doubt about, I don't know, what flavor ice cream I'm going to have today, than to saying that, oh, you can't make a decision because you're X, Y, and Z. So is that doubt bringing more judgments about yourself? And then if it does, are you able to step back and actually say, hang on a minute, is this completely true, what this message is? Or do I need to shift that mentality? Do I need to
yeah.
actually forgive myself for thinking this way and find the truth of who I really am in that message? And actually, interesting enough, I now, and this is this is me practicing this for about 2.5 years, right? So I am obviously sitting here and feeling confident in saying this.
Yeah.
But these days, I welcome those doubts in my life, and I welcome, you know, the emotions or the anxiety or the negative thinking in my life, because every single time it points me to the truth, and it brings me closer to the connection with divine, connection with the universe. But it only happens when I allow myself to face it
Mm.
with compassion and with love and nurture and kindness.
Yeah, beautiful. Such a lot of wisdom
Mm.
in that head of yours, Kasia, that heart, that great big heart that you have. It's been so, so wonderful just hearing more of your journey. Certainly lots of it I didn't know.
Mm.
And I do find it incredibly inspiring. So thank you so much for spending time with us today.
Thank you. And if I may leave everyone with just one little mantra that I wake up every day with.
Please.
It's a simple question, but it's not really simple. Which is, anytime I wake up, I ask myself, how can I love myself today? So just start small, small little things, and see where that leads you.
I'm going to do it.
Yay.
Thanks, Kasia.
Thank you very much. Take care, everyone.